Hi, it's Sherry from at 45, and today I'm with Gina Best from One Boob Down. Now that's an innovative name, Gina. Tell us, what is that?
One boob down, I like to refer to it as a life interruption. It's a program for women after breast cancer. When it's all said and done and you're clear and they say, off you go, you're cancer free, go live your life. Some women absolutely can get back to it and are amazing. And some women think, holy shit, what do I do now? So that's what it's all about.
So, is it a reflection of your own personal journey dealing with breast cancer, Gina?
Oh, absolutely. When I was between my fourth and fifth surgery was a year, and I refer to that as the worst year of my life. I was cancer-free. I had reconstruction, wasn't super happy with the look of it, and I was trying to deal with the new reality of what my life was. Breast cancer changes everything. After you hear those words, you have breast cancer. Instantly you go to fight and flight. You know, you're in a battle for, depending on the stage you're in, your life, your body, your boob, and everything changes in that instant, the moment you hear those words. And while you're going through the treatments and the surgeries, you're in one place, and it's truly a focus on, get this out of my body, how do I get better? Like I learned after my very first appointment, you always have to take someone with you because you just don't absorb information the same way. It's a very interesting place to be. Once the cancer is gone and you have the clear, you've just been through this experience, and the woman you were when you went into the experience is not the same person, same woman who came out of the experience. And for some, you have no fucking idea what to do next. You know, that year after, yeah, my cancer was gone, but I wasn't okay. And there's so much attached to it, because how do you say, yeah, I'm cancer free, but I'm not okay? What will people think? I, again, got super lucky. I got diagnosed early, so I didn't have to have chemo or radiation, but I had 5 surgeries. So how is that, and to say that, the guilt involved to say that, because I was lucky. I didn't have to do chemo or radiation, but it wasn't a walk in the park, right? Especially the last one, because that one hurt like a bitch. So it's all of this, there's guilt, there's loss, there's grief, there's disbelief, there's so many things. And once again, while you're going through treatment, all you focus on is getting through it and getting it out of your body and being okay, right?
And then supposedly you're okay. That's sort of the mentality of it, I think, what you're saying.
Absolutely. I had a really good friend who got diagnosed with ovarian cancer about 4 years ago. And she was really careful in her language because she didn't want to fight her body. She wanted to work with her body. So she was really careful that she never referred to it as a battle. There was no words like that when she referred to her cancer. But the reality is, for women who have breast cancer, or men, anyone who has breast cancer, it is a battle. Right? It's a battle of a different sort, however you refer to it. And that is where you are. You're in this fight with your body to be okay. And that is your focus. And then as you're trying to figure out that part, because everything, that part, then you're trying to manage all of this around you. If you have a spouse, your family, your friends, to be honest, when I got diagnosed and had to start telling people, it was really interesting, depending on the age of the person, depending on reaction. It was quite interesting. But it got to the point that I just couldn't do it anymore, because managing the expectations of others was brutal. So I made a video on Facebook and put it out there, because I just couldn't do it. When when you're going through it, and even for me, the after, it was challenging because it had to be about me. It had to be about me 100%. You know, the during had to be, I was first, and then it was my kids, and then work and my businesses. But I had to be okay, which I wasn't, but I, you know, did the best I could. When you're done after, you're back to this place of, okay, I'm cancer free. My normal is not there anymore. I have a new normal. Because I'm different, right? Because it changes everything about you. It makes you question who you are, what you are, how you do things. And for me, it took my vision. So the whole time I was going through it, which was about 3 years with all said and done, I had no vision. I didn't have a goal for a week, let alone a month or a year. The during literally was a day-to-day thing. Put one foot in front of the other, do what you had to do. The year after, when I was cancer free, and that first year, I felt like I was stuck in a fog, and every now and then the fog would lift and I see glimpses of me and the my new normal and the future, and then the fog would roll back in.
Right.
I just couldn't get past it. You know, breast cancer is a battle any way you want to look at it, and it's not language that I strongly encourage, but it is true. And if you look at the statistics, they say that 82% of women experience PTSD symptoms, right? It's crazy. 1 in 4 get diagnosed, but 82% of women experience the symptoms, you know, because post-traumatic stress syndrome is based on a trauma. And this is a big freaking drama.
Absolutely. I'm not surprised by the fact that, you know, of those numbers. But I think too, the medical system doesn't realize the additional level of support that women need.
Yeah. And for me, because I was lucky, I didn't go through our cancer agency. So I only ever had one appointment with them. And it truly ended with, we hope to never see you again. I'm like, but because of that, I didn't have a support group. It was never offered to me. It never really occurred to me, because when you're in that fight mode, your thought processes aren't like they usually are. So I didn't know, you know, I didn't have a support group. I was really lucky. I had a great mentor and a great, excuse me, great support system. But I didn't specifically have someone who'd been through it. And that's one of the reasons for One Boob Down. Because after the fact, you're supposed to deal with, you're okay, you're supposed to be grateful for being here, you know, you're cancer free, you carry huge amounts of guilt, you carry huge amounts of grief, you're trying to figure out how to make peace with this new body. If you've had reconstruction, you know, can you look in the mirror? Because you know what? It's really quite terrifying how many women after breast cancer can't look in the mirror. Right? I read more stories, more comments about how women hang the mirrors from the neck up. And that's okay. You know, yeah, my boob is, you know, my reconstructed boob, my nipple's a little funky. You know, it's not quite the same. I'm having a couple issues with it. But you know what? It's still part of my body, and I'm making peace with it, and I'm making friends with it. Do I fully own it yet? No. I want a big tattoo. I'm going to have a great big piece done. I just can't do it for a while. So
I don't know if I'll be able to cut that out, but I'll try, Gina.
if not, you just welcome him in. No big deal.
So how long did it take for you to sort of start moving past just existing and into moving forward?
So I had, if we back up a little bit, so Labor Day weekend seems, so for those not around from North America, Labor Day weekend is the last weekend of August. The first weekend of September. So I seem to have surgeries just before Labor Day weekend. So I did it 3 years in a row. So last Labor Day weekend, so almost a year ago now, I had my implant taken out and I had a new one put in. And I'm really, really pleased with that results. That for me, Leading up to it, last summer, I was beginning to feel better about me. I knew that my physical appearance would change because I had a surgery coming. And that's when slowly I started re-engaging. I had done a lot of grief work. I do a lot of grief work. And that's, for me, it was truthfully the last surgery. That was the really big turnaround point, because I was okay with looking in the mirror, and that was huge. Because the year before that, when I had my permanent implant put in, the day I took off the bandages, I cried my heart out. Like, I don't know. Somewhere in the back of my head, I know this sounds utterly ridiculous, I knew what my boobs were going to look like going into it. I had one reduced, and I had the fillable implant. I knew what they were going to look like. But apparently somewhere deep in the back of my head, I thought I was going to have boobs like a titty magazine.
Mm.
And I took off that bandage at home on a Saturday because we were having a heat wave, and my doctor was amazing and told me I could do it. And I cried, Sherry, and I cried. And for 3 months, I tried to be okay with it. I really tried to be okay with it. And then finally in December, I saw my doctor. And it's the first time my amazing plastic surgeon, first time in all of this that she ever saw me cry. And I cried my heart out, and I said, I hate it. Like, I was one of those women, I couldn't look in the mirror.
Yeah.
And that really, for someone who's done so much work I've done so much work on myself. And yeah, I am not a traditional, I don't even know what the word is. Okay, so I'm a big girl. Weight's always been an issue for me. Been, on top of that, so dealing with that, and then adding this, insult to injury, and I couldn't look in the mirror and look at my body. Like, it was crazy. So that for me was a big turning point. And then once I started liking what I saw in the mirror, I could admit that I was different. I could figure out what I needed or what I wanted. I started using boundaries. I still do grief work pretty much, every day. And I slowly started accepting the changes. And you know what? There's a lot of personal development involved. You can just,
Absolutely, I'm sure.
you can put the mask on of okay and just go forward, but that's not me. And I'm not, and I personally don't think that's the place to be. This whole face of fine, like, oh my God, fuck fine. It is a terrible place to be, right? Completely mediocre. Blah, yeah.
Well, Gina, that's one thing I've always loved about you, and the fuck fine attitude. And I think it's really an important thing to think about, that fine is not okay. So Gina, I know that there's many women out there dealing with breast cancer and facing some of the feelings you've just described. How can they get a hold of you?
You can go to my website. So my website is One Boob Down, spelled out, ONEBOOBDOWN.com. And on there's a link to my schedule. I have put aside time every day to talk to women about life, the program, breast cancer. Schedule a call with me. I call them support calls, as in, schedule some time with me. You know what? One Boob Down might not be a fit for you, but you know what? I promise you'll leave with a couple tidbits that will make tomorrow a different day.
Well, thanks so much for sharing your story and your journey. It really is inspiring, and you are inspiring to many people, Gina.